What's happening, gang? Richie here. Good to see you. Took most of the summer off. I'm still probably taking some of it off, but if you saw some of the older videos or older video I did, it was just time to take a break for a lot of different reasons, just to reset, refresh, recharge, address some of the things that needed to be addressed in my life, just to give myself a break. So thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. And coming back, I've got a lot of ideas. And even we just started thinking about, just starting fresh, starting from the beginning. Those who are just starting to play the guitar and looking to start to play the guitar, just some advice, because there's a lot of noise out there, good and bad, about, you're on YouTube looking at this video, right? Different advice, different folks giving advice, some of it will work, some of it doesn't work. This is your journey. You're going to figure out what it is and what makes sense to you, right? So I figure I would just kind of share, and I think what I'll share is good for all ages and players, but I think the more you'll hear it, maybe it's geared towards the individual my age, a little bit older, a little bit younger. I'm in my early 50s, but people a little bit older starting for the first time, those a little bit younger starting for the first time, and thought, I can't do this, I'll never be able to do this, I'm not good enough, whatever it is. We're going to just talk about some simple ways to address learning how to play the guitar. It could be an acoustic guitar, it could be an electric guitar, right? I just figured I would just had some things on my mind, see if it works for you. If I gave you 10 ideas and one of them was what you were looking for, great. I'm glad I could help you out. So you're going to figure out, number one, what's best for you, what works best, how to do it, what not to do, what to do. I can only give you maybe what's worked for me over the last, 20, 30 years, whatever it's been at this point now playing the guitar. I started in second grade. I gave it up before I even got to third grade, and I didn't pick it up again until I was a sophomore, I think, in college. So it's been quite the journey, and the one thing I'll tell you is that the timing is never wrong. If you think you want to do it, and I will say this as well, it should be fun. It should be a good time, especially at our age, if you're my age, younger, but any age. You're getting into this to play and be creative and just do something that you can really be proud of. No one said you had to know 500 chords, a million scales. You've got to play like this player or that player. It's all about you, and just do what's best for you. There's no time limit on what you need to do. Don't give yourself a time limit saying, I got to know how to play this chord by tomorrow. No, just do it and get there when it's good for you. I'm going to learn how to play a scale. Whatever works for you, make it your own. Take it easy. Just take a step back and be able to enjoy it. That's a big part of it as well. So please do that. If it's something you really want to do, but you're still having I don't want to say problems, but challenges, right? You can't get something done, put the guitar away and come back in 15 minutes and 20 minutes. You would be amazed at how many times I had to do that early on, and you come back and it clicks. So frustration will be there, but you know what? When it gets to the point where you're really getting angry at yourself because you can't do it, put the guitar down, come back later, tomorrow, whatever it is. I guarantee you're going to look at it differently, okay? So keep that in mind. What to learn? There's so much you can learn, right? There's so many different types of music you can learn. Let me just kind of share this story with you. When I first started getting into music, my hero was Eddie Van Halen. Still is. Just loved his playing, right? I want to be Eddie Van Halen. I want to be able to play just like him. When I started to play the guitar and realized how things worked, the last person I wanted to be was Eddie Van Halen, because I knew I couldn't do it. I knew that he had a style. I knew I couldn't do it. And over the years, that actually helped me, because it helped me just find other players that I liked that I never knew about. Look, the big bands, we all knew the guitar players, right? I got on this journey where I started, again, Eddie Van Halen, but it was Gary Hoey, it was Eric Johnson, Steve Vai, right? And then there was also Andy McKee, there was Michael Hedges, Doug Smith, just tons, just out of curiosity, if you know all those names, let me know. If you don't know who they are, look them up, but I'm curious who knows all those names. And that's just a small sample size of all these different guys that I started following. And I just learned how to make things my own. I didn't want to be like them, but I knew they all had something I liked, and I just tried to bring that into my style, right? So what do you learn? How do you take all this information? For me, I wish I knew this sooner. I think the easiest thing you can do is, if you're looking to play or learn how to play chords to play songs, there are 4 chords I think that if you learn them, you can use it in rock, you can use them in pop, country, everything. And we're not going to learn them today, but you can learn them. It's a G chord, the D chord, E minor, and a C major. So again, proper terminology: G major, D major, E minor, and a C major, or a C add 9. If you're just learning those, you'll see that the C add 9 and the C are very similar. Just, I think one note just kind of changes it up, 1 or 2 notes. But if you can play those 4 chords, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of songs you can play. And I don't want to play them here because then I'll probably get a copyright strike. But Skinner, Poison, Skid Row, Van Morrison, Green Day, those shapes are used. Different tunings for some of those bands, from standard tuning to a half step down, but those shapes are there. I mean, I just kind of rattled off a handful, but those, you can learn those 4 chords. You can probably start learning how to play some songs. The other thing I would suggest is just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I can tell you, the one thing I learned, again, later on, I wish I knew it earlier, was that as far as guitar players go, and I'm sure it spans other instruments, but I was always afraid to ask questions in the guitar community, thinking someone's going to make fun of me. Folks, we've all been there, okay? We didn't know what we were doing, and we relied on people to help us out and show us the way. I would say 99% of the time, if you have a question and you ask somebody who plays guitar, or great examples. Hey, you're out and you see some live music, and there's a guy playing solo acoustic, guy or gal solo acoustic, and you had a question and you went up to talk to them. Odds are they would talk to you and they would give you some advice. And so don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to try things. And if there is that 1% out there that has something negative to say, and it happens here as well with the comments on the channel, that was hard to take at first. But then you start doing the math, and 99% of, or 98%, whatever it is, has positive things to say or positive reinforcement versus that smaller percentage. Just learn to realize it's always going to be more favorable and more positive. It's easy for me to say, hey, don't let it get to you, but it does. It got to me here. But you just have to learn to just tune it out. No other way to describe it. Just tune it out. You don't have to buy an expensive guitar. None of this guitar here I bought used. And I actually have to say, if you're looking for a place to buy a guitar, Manchester Music Mill, they're not promoting, they're not paying me nothing. I've had some good experience with them. So, the mom and pop shops, I bought this. This wasn't used, it was a blemish. And there was like 2 little marks on here, and you couldn't believe that it would, because of those marks, it would fall into like B stock or something like that. So find something you like. It doesn't have to be a $1,000 guitar. I think this was like $300 with the shipping. And that was a few years back, so maybe things have changed just with the economy, but they're out there. Local music stores, they've always got used gear in there. Go check it out. There's always different things you can be looking at, okay? So you want to buy that $2,000 guitar, acoustic guitar, or electric guitar? Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But you don't have to buy that because you think it's going to look good. It's all about here and here. So don't worry about, you've seen videos of, and they're kind of annoying at times, but they make sense. People going into, a Walmart or a Target, and they've got the toy guitars in there. If the thing was tuned properly, which it was, you can rip on that too. So it's just, it's not about just this. It's about what you can bring to it. And I would say another thing to keep in mind if you're just starting, a tuner. I don't have one with me here because it's in my, hang on, is it here? There we go. Right here, tuner. I believe I'm somewhat in tune, I hope. But this will save you. Let's just see if I'm in tune. See if I'm embarrassing myself. Oh yeah, that one's down. Perfect. Awesome for this. So that's kind of back in tune there. That's all right. Little flat there. Right. But there we are there. Probably because the weather, it's raining as well. So, but this little thing here, again, you don't need all the effects. You could, but you don't just clip on, you're done. And you're back in tune. So being in tune is also super duper important. Reading music, it's up to you. At my age, I had no interest in learning how to read, proper music, as far as the notes. I learned how to read guitar tab, and that was good enough for me. Honestly, that's all personal preference, personal choice, however you want to do it. It's probably, look, if you can read and you're early, I would say a younger age, and you can you can absorb it, go for it. But like me and like you and like a lot of other people, we have, our time is limited, especially if you're working 9 to 5. Any other thing that consumes your life outside of the work hours. Reading tabs sometimes are just much easier. I will say, and again, I wish I knew this earlier, learn your intervals. Learn what they are. It's good to know all the notes, like as far as, okay, F, G, A, B, C, right, all that. Learn the intervals in relation to a scale. This is the G major scale. All right, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And if I move this, the notes are going to change. A, B, right? All that's going to change. But if I take this major scale, the intervals don't change. 1, 2, 3. We're just going to call them out simply. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay? Your root, your second, your major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, sixth, seventh, and your root, your octave, I should say. That'll be the same no matter where you're playing that scale. So intervals are important. So learn the intervals. You can learn the modes. You can learn pentatonic scales. What do you do first? Well, pentatonic scales are only 5 notes, and then you add the other 2 to get different modes. Or you learn the major and minor scale, and you take away 2 notes, and you've got the pentatonic scale. So it's up to you. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. There's a lot of information out there. You've got to find what works best for you. Simple as that. You don't have to know it all. You don't need to figure it all out. But find a little lane that you can call your own, carve it out, and go from there. You could always come back once you've gotten to a good spot. You come back, and then you go up another trail, another lane. So maybe it's just the chords. That G, D, E minor, and that C add 9 or the C, right? All right, you feel pretty good. Well, let's maybe work on some scales. G major pentatonic. E minor pentatonic. Got a good grasp on that? Okay, let's come back out and do some different things. Don't try to perfect something, because I think at that point it may not become fun anymore. Just my 2 cents on that. The other thing I would say, and I just came across this today with a, we'll call it a student, being, I don't use the word scared, but just unsure about themselves playing in front of other people. He actually said, he goes, you guys all play guitar, you're playing bands. He goes, it's just scary to play in front of you. So it's okay. Play in front of them. Do things. As far as being able to just play and just, if you fall on your face, that's cool. It's okay, because you're going to learn from that. It's not a problem. It only makes you stronger, I think, in my opinion. So go out there, play with people, jam. Even if you're just playing one chord with them, play with the drummer, play with the bass player. It's all going to help you out, no matter how you do that. The other thing I would highly suggest, which really wasn't a big deal or a big thing when I was learning, was backing tracks. The whole YouTube thing and playing to backing tracks where, hey, you can go on YouTube and search for backing track in A minor, backing track in G major, whatever it is, rock, blues. If you do that, you could just learn to play along with music. It'll help with your timing. And usually it was a metronome growing up, boring. But the timing would be there for a backing track. It's more musical now. It could be a drum track where you just kind of play the chords. Right? Or you can play scales. You're making all this your own. Again, it's about just having fun, taking it easy. And you don't have to practice 5 hours a day. I know people do. As long as you can pick it up for 5 or 10 minutes here and there, once a day would be great. Cool. I mean, that's all you need to do. It just kind of keeps the hands moving. The comparison I make is like, it's like cramming for an exam, right? You don't do anything. The night before, you all you're doing is just jamming it all into there, right? And it doesn't work. Same thing with this. Like if you're taking lessons once a week, right? You go to your lesson, whatever day it might be, and you don't do anything until 6 days later, preparing for your next lesson. You feel like you're cramming for a test, and it doesn't feel right. I always felt it was better to do 5 or 10 minutes every day than just sit down for one day and do a half hour to an hour, because it's too much. It just really is. So just 5 or 10 minutes every day. Just have fun with it. And don't be afraid to experiment. if you learn how to play a bar chord, right? Move it. There's nothing wrong that you can do. It may not sound great. It may not sound like what you want it to sound like, but you're training your ear at the same point. You can play scales. And if you play a bum note, it's not what you're looking to hear, but it also, your ear is telling you how certain things sound, how they should sound, how they shouldn't sound, depending on what you want it to be. So, think about that. Again, I'm going to remind you again, have fun with it. Learn to play songs, like I mentioned. Learn these chords, learn to play songs. Don't overdo it, little at a time. Go down this road, go down that road, and you'll get advice from a lot of different people. And it's not that they're not right or they're wrong, whatever it might be. They're the right, wrong. It's where you think you need to be. Just kind of carve out that area. Hey, you know what? There's hundreds, not thousands of people like me on YouTube telling you how to play guitar. Of those hundreds and thousands, whatever it is, if you could find 2 or 3 that you were comfortable with, stay with them. That's what I did. There was all this stuff years ago, and I found 2 or 3 that I really dug, and I just used that as my base, and it was a much better situation than flipping through 100 different channels, all of them saying the same thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking anybody, but we all have to find the pieces and the parts that work best for us. Simple as that. I don't know. Again, I'm riffing here. I'm not really, there's nothing prepared here. I was just kind of sharing with you some stuff that I've kind of just experienced over the years. But again, have fun with it. With this whole AI thing going on, people are creating music just by, a few keystrokes and they got a song or they've got a book. Be creative. Craft something that you truly can be proud of. Whether it's just learning how to play a couple notes or chords or songs. Just have fun. When it's not fun is when you tend to put it down. You get the guitar for Christmas and then it goes in the closet sometime in January or February because it's not fun anymore. I'm telling you, just take your time with it. Enjoy it a little at a time. Don't overdo it. You're never too old to do this. You're never, too young. There's a point. I get that. But when you realize it's something you want to do it. Start. I don't want to say focus, but there's bands, there's musicians that you're gonna like. Perfect example is that when I started learning how to play and craft, the bands that I really enjoyed, I still like, but I went on this trip with these other guys and gals that helped me understand how to create some music. One person in particular was Colin Hay. We know of Men at Work. But after that, he's got I don't know how many solo albums right now. Some fantastic acoustic written music, in my opinion. Just in general. So I'm not going to say just acoustic music, but it's different than Men at Work in a way. And just the music's fantastic, and it just helps me hear and see things differently. That's all. How chords are, you get a little more down the road here with how to do things. It's just how I can see things differently now. And it makes me want to write. It makes me want to kind of just do things and be creative. And, one of these days I hope to have one song. Just one song that I can say I wrote, played the music to. I don't know if I'll be able to sing it. It's not going to be fun, but it's what I want to do. I'm having fun with it, right? So think of it that way. I hope this helps you just kind of look at things a little bit differently. It's not meant to show you how to play the guitar. It's just my experience. Last couple ones I had to refresh or reset. I'm going to get back into this. We're going to do more lessons. We're going to do a whole bunch of different things. We're going to have fun with it. I don't know if it was as much fun as I thought as it should have been. And I think that's why I stepped away. And I'm glad I did, because it just helped me focus differently. And don't worry what anybody else is doing. Who cares? If you're having fun, you like it, you're doing things, great. Don't compare yourself to anybody. You start doing that, you start going down this road. That's what I did, especially with content creation. Well, I can't do this, or I do this differently, or somebody else does this differently. Who gives a flying you know what? Do it for yourself, and that's what I'm doing now. It's fun. It's almost therapeutic in a way, just to kind of sit here and talk to, whether it's one person, 2 people, couple hundred, don't care. I enjoy it, and it helps me stay fresh, for sure. So I hope you could take something out of this. Not all of it. Hopefully You can pick and choose what you want to watch in this video, but I'm here if you have any questions. Have fun, enjoy it, and not guitar, any other instrument. Have fun, don't overthink it, and believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there like you, like me, a little bit better, maybe not as good, but we're all in this together. We're all part of the guitar community, and we are all there for each other. I really feel that, aside from, a couple knuckleheads here and there. But have fun with it. Enjoy it. All right? We're going to see you real soon. Later.